Live. In this video, we're going to answer first a question from David Van Adder that was posted on our YouTube. We invite you to submit other questions on the YouTube Live, and we'll do a little bit of a Q&A on creating and launching your website. So the first question from David Van Adder is, how often should you publish early on before you get traffic started to your website? I hear you say that content is king, so let's assume you can crank out killer content on demand. What would be the ideal number of posts per week to get traffic started from zero? What do you think?
Well, honestly, I think that the more content you can post right off the bat at the very beginning, the better. If you, I think I even told this guy this, if you could write 30 articles the first day, like you can crank out killer content like he said, then you post those 30 articles right now, okay? And the reason for that is that the sooner you get that content up, the quicker it can start to rank on Google.
Mm-hmm.
I think that after you've got a good foundation of content, then establishing more of a regularity of posts is probably a good idea.
Yeah, I agree. It's like if you were a farmer and you're like, oh man, I don't want anybody to drive past my farm and make it look like a dumb little garden. So I'm going to wait until I can plant all 50 acres at once. That's kind of how we feel about our niche websites. We're like, it's got to be perfect, and then we launch it. But what will happen is you spend all this time writing this content, and then you're like, I'm going to launch it. And then just nothing happens. When is the best time for the farmer to have planted his seed? Well, 6 weeks ago, and it's the same thing with a website, is you want those articles posted as soon as you write them. And likewise, often we get people who are especially commenting on YouTube or things that are saying, oh, I'm starting a niche website. I don't want to reveal what it is right now. But we always recommend, like, right from the beginning, as soon as you have one post, it's live. Put it live on the internet. Tell people what you're working on and stuff. The earlier you can start those good signals happening to Google, the earlier the hockey stick is eventually going to come.
Yep, I agree completely.
There could be some exceptions to that. Like on YouTube, for example, YouTube really gives some benefit to regularity of posting. And so if you record, 10 YouTube videos in a night, yeah, it would probably make good sense to schedule them out so that they auto post once a week for the next 10 weeks. But with regular posts on an article, I definitely think just publish them right away.
Awesome. Cool. Another question that we had come in was about writer's block. How do we keep ourselves from, or what do we do once we get writer's block? My answer to that question is I don't really get writer's block. And the reason I don't get writer's block is because I use what we call a hit list. I plan out what articles I'm going to write well in advance. I'll usually take some time, usually an hour or so, and come up with just a list of posts using a lot of the techniques that we talk about. Google autocomplete, recommended searches, that kind of stuff. And I'll spend some time just brainstorming all at once until I have a good list. Then I'll take all those ideas and turn them into a good headline. And then every time I sit down to write, I already have something to write. And if I ever sit down and I look at my list and I say, all this stuff stinks, I don't want to write any of these things, it means it's time to work on my hit list.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to worry about writing a post right now.
Yeah, when I started Improved Photography 8 years ago, I thought, man, I could probably write 8 or 20 maybe articles, and then I'm tapped. That's about all I know. And when I wrote those, it just came up with more ideas and more and more and more. And now my list is so long I could never even catch up with it, despite having written thousands on there now. All right, Wallace Nuanez says that we had talked about one of the sites that was messed up on the homepage, and it really tanked the website. So the website he's talking about is knifeup.com. I purchased this one, if I remember right, it was in late 2014. I bought it off Empire Flippers, and it was listed for $30,000. So when I went to the site, I saw that on the homepage, it wasn't set up like a normal blog roll on a normal WordPress site. It was the homepage, and they had a couple categories, but there were literally hundreds of pages that you couldn't navigate to from the homepage. And so as soon as I saw that, when I was doing my due diligence looking at the site, I thought, I'm buying this one. Because when you see an obvious problem like that, you know you can turn things around quickly. And I did. Google had already found those pages. Google will find your pages. But because they weren't linked to, there was no way to navigate from the homepage. Obviously, they were really hurt in terms of SEO. And so when I made that change, I mean, it was just immediately within 2 months, the traffic had gone way, way, way up.
Yeah.
So that was the mistake.
Yep. Kendall asks, are you guys cousins? We've actually been asked before if we're brothers, and we've even been asked if we're twins. The answer is no. As far back as we know, we're not related.
Nope.
We're just friends, and apparently have fairly similar features.
I guess.
Right. Bird asks, when you start out with a new site, is the domain also new? By new, I guess, yes, it's new. It's new to us. Doesn't mean it's never been registered before, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we go register a new domain and start a new site.
Yeah.
Really simple.
All Wayne Gray says, do you suggest paying for high quality guest posts, white hat? It could work. I mean, it's fine. It's just not something that we're wasting our time on. Really, if I want to pay for an article, I'd just rather post it on my own website, especially for new websites. Google honestly is going to think it's weird if a brand new website with 20 pages on it suddenly is starting to get a bunch of links from other websites. It looks more weird than anything else to Google. And so really, if I pay for content, most of the time I think, I'd rather just keep it myself and post it if it's good. If this thing's going to rank on Google, I want it to be on my site. But, if you get into a really competitive niche, you've built up your website to a substantial point where it's doing a lot, yeah, okay, it could make some sense to do some SEO reach out. But for the vast majority of sites, just build your own content and put it on your site is what I do anyway.
Cool. Apparently people are curious to know about us as people, so they want to know how old we are.
I'm 32.
I'm 31. We're
about the same age.
Yeah.
Wyoming says, how long does it take you to write a 2,500 word article? And would it be worth it to write really long articles like 5,000 plus words? It really depends on the topic, of course, if I have to do a lot of research and kind of how good of an article this is. But really, I'm just spending the amount of time it takes me to create a better resource than anything out there on the web. Before I ever start writing an article, I Google it, I look at the competition, see what articles are out there, and if it's just kind of really low quality, junky content, then I'm probably going to write something kind of short and just get a nice answer out there and put it out. If I see, there's some good writers who have done some good content here, then maybe I'll spend 4 days on that 2,500 words and just write something that's just killer, unique, creative, different, etc. Somebody commented on YouTube the other day and said, boy, a lot of your articles on Dirt Bike Planet are pretty short. A lot of them are under 2,000 words. And the reason is dirt biking is it just has very low competition. And so I don't think it's going to be very hard to rank for these keywords. That's why.
Yep. And about the 5,000 plus words, it absolutely can be worth your time.
Mm-hmm.
Not every post needs to be this, but this long form content can actually rank very, very well and can enable you to rank for some larger keywords once your website's got a little bit of authority.
Yeah, only thing is if it gets super long and you're adding pictures in intermittent, it's a heavy page. It's going to take a while to load, and that's not going to help. So if it's over 3,500 words, you may want to think about breaking this into 2 pages, and they click to go to the next page of it, just so it loads fast.
Yep. All right, Inspired Web Developments asks, do we feature Amazon stores on our sites for monetization or casually text link products in your blog posts? What's best? Yeah, we don't feature specific stores. We don't put in big pictures that look like big ads for the product. We like to use text links because they just make the website authentic and genuine. I don't know, people tend to skip, their eyes just look right past what looks like an ad. And so yeah, that's the way we do it.
Success Roller Coaster says, "Why do you add almost no images on your websites?" I don't really think we do. I think every post we write has at least one image, and a lot of them have multiple. But I do want to be very careful when we're putting images, a lot of images on our posts. Something that's a very visual kind of thing. Just be careful that that page doesn't get too heavy. I almost never have an image that's more than 150 kilobytes. Um, and I really want to make sure it's sized down so the site loads super fast, even if you're on mobile, whatever. I don't want that to hold anybody back from seeing my site.
All right. Cool. Man, we got a lot of questions coming in. Sorry.
Yeah, they're coming in
What-
fast and furious.
What are your thoughts on starting a site with an expired domain with good metrics that fits a good niche?
I think it could be
Sure.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I've once or twice bought expired domains, but not because I thought, ooh, it's an expired domain and they might have some extra link juice that's still sending it to me, just because I thought, oh, cool name. It's just, again, we're not looking for tricky silver bullets. We found that just a really straightforward, just making helpful content and putting out there, it's working. So I don't feel like I need to be real tricky.
Right.
Not that it isn't good to be as efficient as possible. Just I don't know. It just works, and I don't want to mess with the recipe that's working with us too much because I don't want to get penalized by Google. So I just making them straightforward.
Yeah. No, I have to agree with that completely. Another question that came in from general contractor: do either of us have experience with SEO for local business? You find it hard to rank for affiliate sites, but easy to rank for local businesses. In my experience, the reason for that is that you're dealing with a local audience. It's easy to rank in a local area, especially if you don't have a lot of other local business competition that also has websites.
Mm-hmm.
I started a small business out in a rural town in Virginia, and I made a Google place, and a week later, we were the top search result because we were one of only 2 businesses with a website in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what it is. If you use the local Google place stuff and just make your site local, it's going to be able to rank pretty quickly locally.
Yeah, same thing with photography. I've worked with a lot of photographers who are trying to rank on Google Local. And usually it's not that hard if you just take kind of the same approach of just answering people's questions in a helpful way. Because most local businesses only have like 5 pages on their website. And so if you just answer questions people are going to ask, you do paving for parking lots and stuff. If you're the one who writes an article, how much does it cost to get a parking lot repaved or whatever? There are probably not that many businesses who are doing that, especially in your local market. And so the chances of you ranking are really, really high. Or you're a local photographer, and instead of just sharing your pictures on social media over and over, what if you write an article called 21 Ways to Look Beautiful in Your Wedding Photos? Well, man, that's going to do great. And you're going to rank on Pinterest and get traffic probably nationally to your site. But Google is going to notice that a lot of people go to this website, and it makes a big difference. So it's really, I think, a lot of the same things. Just answer people's questions and be helpful. And then some specific things to local, like putting your NAP on your website. Your name, your address, and your phone number need to be all over the website so Google can be assured this is a local business and not a national business trying to look like a local business.
Cool. Manjira Waves says, someone said backlink is king, not the content. Is it true? That's a load of garbage. Imagine you've got a backlink, somebody clicks on the link to get to your site, or because of the backlinks, you're going to rank high in Google in the short term. And then people go to the website and the content is crummy. It's crap. What are they going to do? They're going to leave. Google sees that, high bounce rate, nobody stays on the page, low time on the page, and your rankings will drop precipitously. I like using that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Everybody likes a little rain now and then. Doing this for 8 years now, I cannot tell you how many people have said, oh, you're doing okay, but boy, if you just do a little link building, if you would just do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, this new technique that's working right now. And I can't tell you how many times I've run into those people later and they said, Oh, everything was going great until one morning I woke up and my traffic was gone.
Yep.
You know, I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. So don't build a business that can last 20 years. A website that's just helpful and good and people will like it. There will always be a market for helpful resources. And Google's job is to do that. So I just think it's the good
Yeah,
way to go.
absolutely. All right, we're actually running short on time for tonight. I apologize, this is going to be a short video, but one to kind of wrap it up. Somebody asked, who are our SEO mentors? Who are the people that have been influential in sort of getting us to where we are, and who do we look up to today? I kind of added to that one.
You added to it?
I added to it.
Oh, what did you add?
Who do we look up to today? Because
Yeah, Chase Reiner SEO has a YouTube that is really good. Definitely one to go check out. I listened to all his videos. He's got some interesting stuff in there. But I don't know. I'm spending a lot more time focusing on how do I create the most helpful post, and a lot less time on what we call SEO.
Yeah, traditional SEO. There have been lots of sort of mentors along the way, I would say, mostly because we're constantly trying to learn all the time. And so when we, you know, I guess in the very beginning there were some people, John Lee Dumas, Pat Flynn, kind of people that sort of started us kind of on this path, I would say, and who have good information, good, to this day they have good information. But along the way, I think we've learned from just at least dozens of different people.
But yeah, and I would say the reason that you see so much on our YouTube channel that's kind of contrarian views to things is because we've learned a lot just by ourselves of just trying different things and seeing what article ranked and what article didn't rank, doing that thousands of times and just seeing what were the factors that helped this one or that one to go. John Angelo says, what's the best way to have a mobile responsive site? Just get a good WordPress theme. It'll do it for you automatically. If you have a WordPress theme that doesn't have a good mobile responsive theme built into it, you really do need to get a different theme. You should not need to install plugins and stuff to make your website mobile responsive. Any good theme will have that built in.
Yep.
All right. I wish we could get to all of them. We have so many questions, but thank you guys for posting. We really appreciate all the support we get from you guys. There is never a comment that we don't read. I wish we could reply to all of them, but we read everything, and we have some cool stuff coming up for you guys, which is what we need to end this to get working on. Some new cool things that we will call Project 24, and we'll leave it that vague, coming up in the next couple weeks. Thanks, everybody. Okay, now I look like a dork because I don't know how to end this.